go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our Canvas PD series. This is something new that we have started this year where we're going to be offering every Wednesday 2 different levels of courses that correspond to our Canvas agreements. So we're happy that you're here, and we are going to be recording this session for other people to watch at a different point in time. My name is Carrie Kunert. I'm here in the center, a part of our digital curriculum team, and I'm joined today by Chris Giles, who is our Canvas administrator and also a district TOSA, as well as Nicole Carter, who is also on our digital curriculum team. And we are here to talk Canvas with you. So we're going to do our presentation first and cover specific topics. And then at the end, if you have any questions pertaining to today's topic, which is all about personalizing your homepage, we'll answer those questions first so that it's part of our video recording. And then we'll stop the recording. And then if there's any other questions that you have related to other Canvas things, we're happy to answer those as well. So basically how the structure of this is working is that we have broken Canvas into 3 different levels. We have our discovery level, our create level, and explore and collaborate. And we have Canvas agreements, which is just a way to make sure that our district is approaching Canvas in the same way, and we have some consistency throughout all of our users and our students and family experiences. So we have broken into these 3 levels, and we are just literally, we are taking 1 per week, and we're going to work our way down the list. So last week we did episode 1. We did setting up user controls and how to build in modules. And you have access to those slides, are all part of the same slide deck. And we are linking the videos on the corresponding slides, and they are hot linked here for you. So you can click right into those. And today we're going to be doing personalizing your homepage today for level 1, which is right now our discovery session. And at noon, we will be doing a session on engagement in Canvas, where we'll have a number of teachers coming to participate in a panel to share with you some tips and techniques that they have found useful. So we're going to work our way through discovery and create, and then we're going to start level 3. And I think it's in March, I don't know, later in the year, we're going to pick up on level 3, and all of this is in Teacher Source, so you can go sign up for any of the sessions that you would like to participate in. So, oh, Nicole, this part.
Yeah, we just want to reiterate that the sessions themselves will be put together into 1 full course for level 1, a full course for level 2. And at that point, we will do an anytime course attached with PDUs for everyone that's watching these videos. So until we kind of complete all of level 1 and you're watching these, you'll have to wait for those PDUs once we get it all combined and together.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to go ahead and slide all the way down to slide number 10. And hopefully everyone has access to that slide deck in the chat. So
anyway, so we're going to go ahead and today, and I'm just going to do a real brief introduction of what's called a rich content editor, which is basically the space where every teacher is going to use to edit a page, an assignment. It doesn't really matter what you're physically editing in Canvas, you always start in the same space, which is called the rich content editor. And what I want to showcase is just the new one. It will be turned on officially when we come back from Christmas break or winter break. All of you will get that information beforehand, just to kind of let you know, because it's one of those things that when Canvas makes an update, sometimes they put it in a beta format, which means you can play with it. And then they push it to everybody saying, hey, it's now time. Everybody's going to accept it. Any course, it doesn't really matter where you are. But what I'm showing you today is I'm going to show you how to change the ability to edit, again, in the rich content editor. And this will be something you can turn on now as a teacher. But you have to do it for each course that you actually teach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to any course, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom left-hand side. And I'm going to go to settings. And settings are where you're going to find most of the under the hood stuff for your course anyways. On the top, on the right-hand side, it'll say feature options. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm looking for what's called the RCE enhancements, which stands for Rich Content Editor Enhancements. And right now, you'll notice this is a little X. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Nothing looks like it's done anything. I don't need to save it. All I'm doing is turning this feature on. What I'm gonna do right now is, before I do that, I just realized I took a brief stop. I wanna show you what the original looks like all of you are in the process of using the original. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend. And what you'll notice at the top, all of these buttons, bold, italic, all of this information you see here in the top, that's the original rich content editor. It's called rich because I can go ahead and add YouTube videos and I can use other tools. Well, by going to settings on the left-hand side in Canvas and going to feature options and turning on the rich content editor feature, what I want you to notice is now when I hit refresh, it's changing its view to just a different style. Some of the buttons have a new look to them. The functionality is much the same, but the difference between the two is a little bit. And we'll make sure we put in the links on our PowerPoint, on our Google Slides, the difference between the two. The reason why I wanted to show the difference just briefly is because I could do a few more things. I can change the font and the italics. I can do a lot of things. You'll notice that you can still link, you can still add and upload photos and images. I can still pull from Google Drive, which will pop up for me. So the functionality is much the same. The layout is a little bit differently. And something I really love, just something simple, is if I wanted to make a real simple table, I'm just gonna make a real simple one real fast. I used to struggle with putting a color in there. Well, now I can actually click on it and I can actually go ahead and go to table properties or even cell properties. But now watch this. Instead of knowing what they call the hex code, I'm going to look for it. I can click on advanced and I can go, ooh, I can actually change the color now. So it has some functionality. You'll notice that there's some good improvements. And again, this is coming full online in January for everybody in our district, and we'll let you know in advance. But for now, as a classroom teacher, I can go to any course. I can click on settings on the bottom left-hand side and feature options. And I can turn on this option by just clicking the button, and you don't have to hit save. You can turn it on anytime. I know Christina's been using it and a few of our teachers have been doing it because there's just some new functionality that I like with it. So that's all I have to say about the new rich content editor, which again, assignments, quizzes, discussions, it doesn't matter where you are in Canvas. That is the functionality that you will use to build or create things. So kind of like Nicole said, I can create and go ahead and do any welcome message. And so this is my original template right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on edit. Again, anytime I want to create a discussion, an assignment, it's the same functionality. I don't really want to mess up my beautiful template. So what I'm going to do is come down below and I'm going to put my cursor in a space below. And then you'll notice right here at the top, if I just hover over it, it should come up, but basically it says upload or record a video. So again, I'm using the new rich content editor. The same functionality exists if you did not switch it out. You do not have to. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit upload record media. And then I can do one of two things. I can record on my phone and drag it if I want to, or I can go ahead and click record. And when I do that, it's going to come up and say, oh, hey, time to record. And I just hit restart record. It gives me a countdown. I don't know which screen should I be looking at. Oh, that one, this one. Anyways, you can just record a quick message for your students, hit finish. You can rename it if you want to. I'm going to hit save, or you can start over if you're a goof like me and you need to redo it 4 times. And once you're finished with that and you hit save, it will show up on inside of my homepage. It will show up on my assignment. Again, the same functionality exists in all of those places in Canvas. And here's my video. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now my students can go ahead and watch the video. And what I love about it too, by the way, just as an FYI, I don't really want to listen to my teacher in 1 time the speed. So I'm going to increase them to 2 times the speed, because really, who has time to listen to my teacher talk and talk and talk? So I'll increase their speed or slow it down if you want to. Anyways, that's simple as, again, editing button, and then new or old rich content editor. It's going to be the same. This functionality is either record or upload a video. I'm going to upload or record, and then you can choose. Nicole, is that okay?
Yeah, perfect. I just want to say it's just so easy to use that record feature, and all of the research and studies show that the more that we add our face into anything that we're creating in Canvas, the better. So short little videos like that are just so easy to do and add a lot to the course.
So before I leave, I just want to show you one last thing, which is I made a big mistake on my homepage. If I click the 3 little dots on the top, I can click on page history. If I made a huge mistake, I can choose, much like Google Docs, I can include a revision history and go, you know what, I kind of want to go back in time and I can restore that. So this is an FYI, if you make a mistake, it's okay, but you can go back in time.
Now that does not apply necessarily when you're importing from the Commons or if there has been an update to something that you've imported to the Commons. I want to make sure that we're really clear on that, that if there is an overwrite from importing from the Commons, you don't have the ability to hit that
Correct.
back in history button.
In that case, reach out
really
to me or Christina for extra help with that.
Yeah.
And when our teachers started out this year, depending on your level, whether you were elementary or secondary, you were given a course shell. And this is an example of what the elementary course shell looked like. We kind of gave both teachers a running start, right? Some of the things were in place for you. Whether you liked that or didn't like that is totally up to you, and you had the ability to go ahead and change it up. One of the things I wanted to show really quickly was how you can go ahead and edit and change up some of the buttons. So some of the images. So instead of welcome there, maybe you wanted something more specific and personalized for your class. So if you go into the specific module, you were given a number of different resources here in both of the different shells. So you were given all kinds of different options that you could go ahead and take some of the clip art and things that we had already established. So here, that's what I want to be in. So here's an example of just some of the headers that we left there for you. So you could take the header and you could change it up, right? You wanted your name there instead of Nicole's name. You wanted your Bitmoji there. You wanted whatever. You could go ahead and personalize it. And again, we have all kinds of different headers there for you. And you can totally make your own, right? If you have something totally better, a different font or a theme that you want to use, you're welcome to do that. The way that we replace it really easily is just to take a screenshot of this image right here. We found that that's just kind of a quick, down and dirty, easy way to do it. So we can do that by hitting Shift, Command, and the number 4. So if I do all 3 of those at the same time, I'm given these little crosshairs. And then I can go ahead and click and I can drag. And I'm going to essentially just take a picture of this image. So I'm going to drag it. Beautiful. And if I had my sound on for you, it has a cute little camera sound that it makes whenever I take that image, and just saved it immediately to my desktop. So if I go back to my kind of boring header up here at the top, when I go into edit, I can get rid of that boring one. It's all one picture. It looks as if it is a font, which I think is deceiving at first. You often think that it is a font, but oftentimes it's made in fact in a button. So I can just delete that one that I didn't want there. And over on the right, you have the ability to add other things. So you can add other images. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that new picture that I just took, and I'm going to find that file on my desktop, and I could rename it if I'd like to have a better naming convention. But for right now, I could go ahead and stick it in there. Welcome to 4th grade, beautiful. And I'm going to give it alternate text here. In case you had a screen reader that was reading that and was unable to see the image. And I'm going to go ahead and upload that. And beautiful. All right. So I've taken the kind of generic, kind of boring header, and I've made it more personalized for myself and for my class. So again, that is a way that you can do that really easily. One other thing to show you really quickly when you are changing your home page is that you have the ability to link. And for navigation purposes, that just makes life so much easier when the kids are like, okay, where do I find my math things, right? Like if you have this button to math linked, it'll just make navigation so much more simple for them. And we have a number of those done right here in the agenda. And again, that's simple as well. There are 2 different ways to do it. So if I just highlight, make sure I have the little corners here, I can go up in my rich content editor. And I have the previous version, not the fancy one that Chris had. If I can go right here, I can just link, I could link to something outside of Canvas. So I could choose a website or something that I wanted kids to go to. I also have a ton of options over here on the right where it says links. I could link this word agenda to, gosh, anything that I had created in Canvas. It could be a specific page. Let's pretend I want it to go to this right here, the previous weekly agenda. I'm just pretending, beautiful. Just by touching that hot link, it's already been linked. As long as when I go to the very bottom, I made sure to save, then it saves all of those changes. And now that is a hot link. When I click there, it will take me to the place that I just assigned it to. So that is how to add an image and how to link it. And just a quick thing. Whenever we're building in Canvas, we often have a really pretty ugly Google slide open. And in that Google slide is where we just build the things for our buttons, right? Like, gosh, I really wish they had a thing that had an arrow on it. Okay, so we literally just build it over here. And then we take a picture of it and put that into Canvas. So it looks a little bit more slick. We don't actually build it in Canvas quite often. So I wanted to show you that behind the scenes, not very pretty part of where we build some of the student directions really quickly.
Here and talk about how we can attach a syllabus to our homepage. So for those of us that are in elementary, this isn't as important as those of us in the secondary realm. On our homepage, we do have a button. So Carrie has already shown you how you can link a button. So we're just going to go over how you might go about putting your syllabus in Canvas. And there are a couple of ways to go and do that. So the first one I'm going to do is just show you within Pages how we can address that. So I'm going to go into View All Pages, and I'm just going to go ahead and create a new page. I'm going to call it Syllabus 1. So let's just say I have like a Google Doc that is my printer friendly version, and all I'm going to do is copy and paste this over. Now, my images are not going to come through because Canvas doesn't like those images, right? So if I wanted to add those images later, I can. But this is your first option. Super easy. It's a copy and paste. Now it's just a simple, I'm going to hit save and publish. It's just a simple page. Now, if we wanted it to look a little bit nicer, there is another option. So I'm going to go back to View All Pages. And I'm going to go ahead and create another page. And I'm going to call that Syllabus 2. And in my Google Drive, I already have something that I made in Canva. Chris briefly mentioned that, I think, a little bit earlier in our demonstration here. So I made this in Canva. I saved it as a PDF and imported it into my Google Drive so that I have access to it. Now, what I've noticed to get my embed code, is I've never really been one that thought I would ever learn any kind of HTML or code of any sort, but building in Canvas has taught me how to start reading a little bit of HTML. So I need an iframe code. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go up here to more options, and I'm going to say open this in a new window. I don't know why we have to do this in order to access the iframe code, but this is the only way I found. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to click on the more options again. And now you'll see I am given this option to embed this item. I'm going to click that. And this I'm just going to, copy and paste this in. Now, I do think that it's helpful to, in case it's not viewable for students, I'm going to say link to PDF of syllabus in Google Drive. I'm going to also hyperlink it to this text right here. Now we're in the new rich text editor, which is slightly different. Normally the HTML, to switch to the HTML code, there's a button up here. And now in this new version, it's actually down here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to HTML. And I'm just going to paste that weird code that I was given before in that other window. And then I'm going to switch back. I'm going to hit this button and switch it back. So now I can see this nice printer version looking thing. I'm just going to make my window a little bit bigger. Now you'll notice that it is a 2-page doc. So what I'm going to do as I go back into this code, I'm actually going to make this just slightly bigger. So I'm going to make this 1,000 pixels in width and 1,000, at least 1,000 in height. And then I'm going to switch back and just see what it looks like. Because I want to be able to see the full page. And I think that that looks fine. Now again, it's 2 pages so the kids can easily scroll out. And then I also wanted to link to the file in Google Drive. So I'm just going to come up here and grab the URL and come back into Canvas. and I'm going to link it by copying and pasting that link. And I will say save and publish. So now you've got two different ways. One that's just a quick copy and paste, and one that has kind of like a printer friendly view. Okay, so I can scroll between 1 and 2, but I see the full first page. Looks good. Now, this is all about editing your home page, right? So if I come back to my home page, I want to link what I just created to my syllabus button. So I'm going to go into edit, scroll down to that syllabus button. So I'm going to go ahead and link it from my course links. That pops up a little window, and remember it was a page. So in the past when we did rich content editor, this window was actually over on the right hand side. Well, now it's this pop-out window. So I'm going to go and find, I really liked the second version that I did, so I'm going to link it to that. And then of course I'm going to hit save. So now as students come in, they hit this button and it takes them to my embedded syllabus.
Yeah.
Cole, that was awesome. Seriously. I love it. That was fantastic.
All right, so we actually want to flip it over to Christina joining us a little bit so she can kind of show us a little bit. We're hoping live demo some different things that teachers have done in her building to personalize their home pages even more.
Right. So I just have a couple teachers that said, go for it, Christina, that gave me permission to showcase their pages. So they still have, we had an expectation at Westview that they keep the buttons. Again, one of the reasons that for the high school they have the buttons is because these are the items that don't show up on a phone. And so if parents wanted to navigate to these different things, they needed those buttons there. But this teacher, for example, she changed the edges of the table. And so especially if you have that new rich content editor, it's really easy to do that. You can mix that up. She put another table inside. She has her Zoom link. It's little, all kinds of stuff. But down here, she also has a delightful Bitmoji of her jumping in. And then she has her standards. And this is kind of a cool thing. She's using a notebook. If you click on it, she has embedded her notebook. It opens it up, and then it has tabs for all the different things that she's doing in her class. So if you go to the different tabs, it'll go to the different slides and automatically show you what it is that she's doing in her class. So students can always find that content. It's always right there available on the home page. And she has something else on the bottom too. So that's all, when you're doing those embedding, you can embed a whole bunch of stuff on that home page, including images. She has her Quizlet. She put another table in. One of the things just to kind of note about tables is and I'm going to try to see if I can make it happen. Whoa. So if you change the dimensions of your page, if you make it wider or smaller, sometimes the tables can mess up. So we did put one table in the template, but the dynamic resizing of a table gets a little messed up in Canvas. One of the things that some teachers did, for example, is they put their whole email address in here, and it made one of the columns go really short or small, etc. So this is how she did all of her. She has a slide deck that she updates all the time. She puts her various videos in there, and then students can see that as well. Another teacher, to personalize their homepage, they just have a Bitmoji classroom. It's just one slide. So students don't have to go anywhere, but they do have the links so that they can see some of her favorite videos and content that she likes for them to talk about. And she also, during her course, tells them that there's like a choose your own adventure. So they have to like find things in the Bitmoji slide deck for like extra prizes and rewards. So that's kind of fun. Here is one that I completely redid the template. In the beginning, it kind of looks a little bit normal. He did this really nice video that has a green screen background that personalizes it. So he talks about just his love of teaching and how much he really loves the course and why it matters to him. So for students, that really is great and awesome. Then he has his Bitmojis everywhere. And then he changed all of the buttons so that they're much bigger buttons. And where he got those from is on the template on the top. there's this slide deck. So those buttons exist down here. I can put that link. And all of the buttons that I made some of them in, for this slide deck, I made some of them in Google Slides, and some of them, I made them in Adobe Spark. So if you've never used Adobe Spark before, we all have a pro account to Adobe Spark. And it's just like what I call it's like a scrapbooker for the internet. You can do anything in Adobe Spark, and kids can do a whole bunch of stuff. They have a whole bunch of preloaded templates that are kind of fun. You can make videos and web pages, etc., really pretty quickly, and it does some cool stuff. So that's what he did. He changed all of those to be what he wanted, and then he created a new one that was a news button. So it looks a little bit different, but still lives up to our Canvas agreement. But one of the things you can do on any course is you can always embed a Padlet. A Padlet is a great way of having a drop spot for students to just have comments and ask questions. And so if you go to Padlet, this is just one, at one point I had them draw a chicken. We were doing writing in our course, and they drew a chicken from memory, and then they saw the chicken. But for Padlet, just about any place else, if you click under share, there will be the ability to get the embed code. And so this looks ugly, but if you just toggle to that HTML code on your rich content editor, you can copy and paste that in, and your Padlet will show up embedded, and you can have that on your home page. So I can just put it on this one. And what's good about that is you can have a discussion for students if you like. But what I did last year for students is I had a Padlet for them where they could tell me what music they wanted me to play in class, what books they were interested in reading, and just different comments and feedback back. Like, so that if they had a question about the class, I don't continually answer the same exact question. Instead, they're supplying questions and answers to each other. So you can always moderate a Padlet so that and it has the ability to toggle it so they can't use profane words, and you can make sure that all of those things are there. But there's a lot of different ways that you can embed things. You can embed Jamboards. You can have a lot of interactivity on that homepage if you want. Okay, so they have playlists, and they're adding all of their class videos to a playlist. So the same thing holds. You can share the entire playlist. And if you're sharing that playlist, you can embed it. So if you want to embed the playlist, it again gives you this embed code. And when students see an embedded playlist, it'll give them the ability to see any of the videos in the entire playlist as just a link, and they can go down through and kind of toggle to see which class they missed and watch the video. So I'll show you what that looks like.
So that's kind of an important piece to remember, that if you're sharing or embedding the first video of a playlist and expecting all of those videos to show up, they don't. You have to go about it the way Christina has just walked you through. So if you are building a playlist, you need to embed the entire playlist for them to be able to access all of the videos.
And what the teachers like to say is it kind of looks like a little snake. So they kind of put in their words on the top that if you click on this little snake, it'll show you all the videos in that playlist. If you date them, so they're making sure that they have the date of the class the students missed, and they can go through exactly to the class that they wanted to see, and then they can click on that video and watch it. So they don't have to make repeated entries into their Canvas page, so their page gets really long. Some of them, especially for the high school, think that students can understand this, and it's a much quicker way that they can access content. So I'm going to pause there, see if there's any questions. I don't want to just talk at you.
Well, I think it's important to realize that even though we're in the level 1 series, Christina and I have both talked quite a bit about iframe codes or HTML. And I don't think that I've ever started to read really closely into that coding, that HTML coding, until I started, building virtual assignments. And so, there's always a way to go back, as Chris pointed out, to your history and change things if you mess it up or you don't like the way that it looks. Don't be afraid to kind of dive in there. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that those embed codes are usually really easy to find. And once you recognize how to just copy and paste them in, there's a lot more you can do with pages in Canvas.